Wow, what is happening, Ninja Turtles fans, movie fans alike? Welcome back to the channel. I am D-WIZZLE, and this is another edition of my life. And we are back with a late night Turtles Thursday. We have a bit of a late start, but that's okay. We are here. We are back talking about some Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. We are talking about every theatrical release of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles leading up to Mutant Mayhem, which is going to be out in a couple of weekends. It's right around the corner. For those of you who haven't seen our previous streams, we talked about the original 3 live-action Turtles films. We talked about the 2007 CGI animated movie, TMNT. So if you guys haven't seen any of those streams, check out my channel. I have a playlist of all the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles streams we did. It's called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, obviously, so you can check those out. But today, we're continuing on with a new version of Ninja Turtles. Today, we're going to talk about the Michael Bay produced Ninja Turtles movies. We're once again talking about Michael Bay. Man, we just can't get away from this man. But today, we are going to be talking about the 2014 edition of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And joining with me today, once again, I have fellow YouTuber, Big B.
How's it going, everybody? Can't wait to get my thoughts out about these ones.
Indeed. All right, before we start, let's look at the chat real quick. We have Senior Nerd with just a thumbs up. What's up, my guy? Glad to be here. We have Aaron World Order. It's like, it's pizza time. Sure is pizza time. But let's not waste any more time. Let us talk about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2014. And as always, we have to remind the viewers out there that this is a spoiler-filled discussion. This movie has been out for years now, so if you have not seen this movie, go watch it on Paramount Plus. It's on there. If you don't want to know anything about it at this point, if you haven't seen it, I don't know what you're doing. Like, whatever. But you have been warned. Spoilers on. Okay, so last time we talked about Ninja Turtles, it was the 2007 CGI movie, TMNT, and we both enjoyed that movie. Big B was on a little more of a high with that movie than I was. You consider that to be your favorite, correct?
Absolutely, still do.
Cool. And for me, it's probably my second favorite, right behind the original 1990 movie. For me,
seems to be the general thoughts for everybody, really, too.
Yeah, like those two are at least like on the top of the list when it comes to their favorite versions of Turtles on the big screen. Um, so for me, even though TMNT wasn't my favorite, there was a lot that I liked about it as far as the look of the movie and the themes and the character development. I thought that was really really cool. But unfortunately, that movie underperformed, so we ended up getting any follow-ups from that, which is very unfortunate, especially hearing the plans that they were going to do for a sequel, which I thought would be really, really cool. Giving Michelangelo more of a, more development. I thought that would have been really interesting. So after that point, at the time, Warner Brothers owned the film rights to Ninja Turtles. So for a long while, we didn't really hear much from Ninja Turtles. I think that was around the time where when did the 2003 show like stop?
I mean, I could look it up, but I swear that it was like probably pretty soon after the '07 show. But let me see.
Yeah, because like I know they did like a sequel series, Fast Forward.
Yep. Okay. So originally aired. Turtles for. Okay. So actually, yeah, it wasn't too far. So the original show, I guess, original show up to Fast Forward went up to 2007,
Okay.
and then Back to the Sewer up until Turtles Forever was up until 2009. So they took like a year break and started again in 2008, and then went until 2009.
Okay. So yeah, literally the movie literally came out not too long after the show started to reach its end. I guess to give quick thoughts about Fast Forward and Back to the Sewer and Turtles Forever, I guess. Fast Forward, I thought was a fun show. I don't think it was on the level of like the original, but I thought there was some cool concepts in there. But like at the same time, there was like some choices made in that show where I was like, I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, 2007 is always going to be like my favorite. It's always going to be an instant classic. Or 2003, I mean, the first like few seasons.
right.
Fast Forward was kind of meh, and Back to the Sewer, I could point out every time they've ever reused an animated shot in that show. It was clear that it was like definitely going kid friendly because that's what Fox wanted to do. You had the Fox and 4Kids and everything and One Piece and, and
Oh
all
God,
that.
no.
So obviously they wanted to go that kiddie direction, and that's what all the channels were doing at the time. So it's pretty obvious that they wanted to do that, and it's pretty obvious that they didn't have as much behind the show at the time. So
Yeah, Back to the Sewer. I didn't really watch that much. The time I did watch, like, as you said, I could just tell when they were recycling footage and all that. Like, I felt like I was watching. Felt like I was watching Power Rangers for a second because they use recycled footage all the time. I still love Power Rangers, but like, there are some dated stuff like that happens in the show.
Yeah. And I will say, as an adult, I have more of an appreciation for Fast Forward for what it did. It's not my favorite, but I have more of an appreciation for it. But the reason that I watched every episode until Back to the Sewer, and the reason why I watched all the way through Back to the Sewer as a kid was because as a kid, the second they went into Fast Forward, I was like, I don't like this. I want them to go back to regular New York. So I kept watching until it got to that point.
Fair enough. And then Turtles Forever, which was a TV movie.
It was the TV movie. It was like their big finale, I guess.
Finale of like trying to do like a big multiverse story. This was a big multiverse story before we started getting multiverse in the MCU and DC and all that stuff. But that was pretty good. I like Turtles Forever. Once again, if you guys want us to go more in depth with the movie, we could review it at a later date if you guys comment below. But yeah, overall it was a pretty good like finale movie. it was nice to see like the old 3 versions and the 80s version and the black and white comic versions all interacting together. Though I felt like they were a little bit lazy with the characterizations of the 80s version and the black and white version a little bit.
They were, I think the black and white versions, they weren't spot on, but they were close. For like the brief moments that they were there. The 80s versions, it felt like very kind of a little lazy. I mean, to be honest, you look back at the 80s show and it was kind of spot on, but I liked that. I didn't love it, but I liked that they referenced other like continuities that you see either in the show or in comics, like Same as It Never Was made an appearance in there for a brief second. And I don't know, like early 2000s multiverse movies were hitting a little different, because you had Jimmy Timmy Power Hour, you had
loved it.
So like early 2000s, kind of they knew how to do multiverse movies. It was good.
They need to go back and look back on history and see how it's actually done. We'll see how Secret Wars and stuff goes. Once we get out of this writers and actors strike, though, it's kind of like on a
unless well, I don't know, because Disney apparently is looking to replace a lot of writers with AI, so we'll see how that goes.
Oh God, Jesus!
Yeah.
God help us all. If this strike continues on like till the end of the year, going into next year, we're in some big trouble.
Oh no, dude, Hollywood's dead. Hollywood's dead at that point.
Yeah, like
no more AAA films.
No. I just
you got the writers and the actors on strike, dog.
Right. Which hasn't happened for like 60 years.
Dog, no, Hollywood's dead. I'm sorry. If this keeps going, if December comes and they're still on strike, nah, dog, Hollywood's dead.
Yeah, it's done. It's the apocalypse.
Next year there will be no movies.
Done. Which is gonna be a very depressing time. But anyway, we got to talk about Michael Bay, right? So after that point, there was like a good while where we haven't really seen much from the Turtles, and that's when, I guess, since they were in pretty much in limbo, the rights to the Turtles were like floating, and then that's where Paramount was like, is those Turtles I see? We'll take that from you. So that's when Paramount pretty much owned at least 90% of all the Ninja Turtle stuff. They own the film rights, they own the toy distribution, all that stuff.
Oh yeah, they were just owning the 80s. They still own the 80s.
They still own the 80s?
They still own Ninja Turtles and Transformers. They got it.
Yeah, I know for sure Transformers, but yeah, so that's when it started to become a Nickelodeon property, and that's where I started to get a little bit worried, because around that time Nickelodeon was kind of like on a decline as far as quality, and that's where when SpongeBob was going nonstop.
Yeah, and then 2012 Ninja Turtles had a little bit of a rocky beginning for most people, which at this point, I will say, in 2014, it was starting to hit its stride, but it wasn't a lot of faith going into this movie, really.
Like 2014, like I had to like sit with it and see where it was going, because I didn't love it the first time I watched it, but as it kept going on, it started to get better and better, and it's like, honestly, this is probably one of the best like versions of Turtles, like as far as TV, because I ended up really, really enjoying the show.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, with regards to this movie, you also got to combine that with the fact that, one, this was this came out months after Age of Extinction came out. So already people didn't have a lot of faith in Michael Bay. And then on top of that, there were tons of those leaks and everything from Michael Bay's initial concepts where he was going to make them aliens. And they looked very alien-like, and everyone was like, oh no.
Yep, all that garbage. So yeah, Michael Bay, we were already through with Michael Bay with those garbage Transformers movies.
And then everyone saw the Shredder design in the trailers, and I remember all the videos that were coming out of people with angry faces in their thumbnails next to the Shredder design, because it was very Transformers-y. And
it was like, I don't know how Michael Bay got it like I don't know. Michael Bay got the keys to the Ninja Turtles. I don't understand that. Like giving him another property to do. I guess like at the time, I kind of see from a business standpoint that the Transformers movies were still lucrative franchises, and like Michael Bay's movies, like gave him a profit. So they're like, you know what? Let's do that same thing for Ninja Turtles. I guess
absolutely, and I'm guessing that. Because, of how close these movies released to each other, I'm guessing that they handed the keys to Michael Bay around the time that Dark of the Moon came out. And they're like, okay, we see that you're able to pull in a lot of people for these. And we see that overall, people liked Dark of the Moon. So, here you go.
Wrong word, but okay.
Yeah. Overall, compared to Revenge of the Fallen, people left Dark of the Moon going, okay, this was good. Compared to Revenge of the Fallen.
All right, but that's like saying, oh, that car crash wasn't as bad. The car didn't blow up this time.
Well, yeah, but at the time, Dark of the Moon seemed like a genuinely good movie because it was like that was all we had at the time. It was just those three movies. So of course, after seeing how well Dark of the Moon did, they're like, okay, we have this other property. So here, you work on that.
Fair enough. You guys know I'm a little bit harsher on Dark of the Moon. I like, Big B is almost an apologist tiny bit, but
a little bit.
That's okay. I understand the appeal of Dark of the Moon. I do to an extent, but yeah, as you said, like Michael Bay had this crazy concept for Ninja Turtles. Like he said, they're about to turn them into aliens. William Fichtner was going to be in space. William Fichtner was going to be the Shredder.
Dog.
What the actual hell?
And everyone saw those designs that they had. They looked like xenomorphs, man. They looked like third form Frieza. It was nuts.
Yeah, I was so upset. And then Megan Fox was casted as April O'Neil.
The outcry of people that were like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah, even though I'm one of the few Megan Fox defenders. When she was casted as April O'Neil, I was like, "What the hell are you doing?"
I remember a lot of people at the time talking about how like the '90s actress is still here. She looks good. Bring her in.
Yeah, what was her, Judith? Like she doesn't age. Like she looks great. So it's like, why don't you just bring her back for the reboot? Even though they probably will confuse the general movie-going audience, being like, wait, weren't they in the original?
It's a new continuity. It would be fine. It'd be fine.
I guess, but like. Yeah, so because of that outcry, like the fans were like so enraged from the early like concept of this movie. Paramount was like, okay, wait, look, Michael, we got to do an overhaul of this. We got to go back to basics. Like, do what you can to make it feel as close to the original cartoon as possible.
I'm convinced that some executive saw the bad press, kicked Michael Bay's door down with a box set of the 03 show and all the previous movies and a bunch of comic books, and we're like, here, you're stuck here, you're grounded to your house. Read and watch all of these.
Like, man, why does this keep happening? Because like the same thing happened with Sonic the Hedgehog with that early design. Everyone hated it. No,
that one we bullied them. we had enough. We went through Transformers. We went through the concept art of Ninja Turtles. We went through Dragon Ball Evolution. We went through Avatar: Last Airbender, and we were like, no, enough is enough.
Enough is enough. You're gonna do it right. God damn it. But yeah, man, thank God for Paramount for the most part, like kicking Michael Bay in the butt, being like, get this right, make this right. But okay, so that's when they overhauled the designs, they overhauled the story, like they tried to get it back to the best way they can, to get it back to the original way it was. And when we start to actually get marketing for the movie, we were like, okay, this is interesting. It kind of resembles the Turtles, but not completely. I remember like the first like teaser for this movie. I was I didn't really know how to make of it. I wasn't like infuriated, but I was like, all right, all right. The turtles look huge. I don't know why they look so huge.
Yeah.
Megan Fox looks doughy-eyed the entire time. I'm like, all right. William Fichtner's doing his monologue, and I'm like, huh? And then the way the teaser ended, I was like, I had like an outer body experience because this never happened in any incarnation of the Turtles up until this point. The ending shot where Megan Fox is on the building, Leo is jumping off the building, and then Michelangelo jumps right behind her, and like Megan Fox is freaking out, and then Michelangelo's like, no, wait, look, see, it's just a mask, don't freak out, and then he takes off the mask, and we just see barefaced Michelangelo. I was like,
there were so many memes of that, and I'm gonna be honest, so. Seeing that teaser, it was like, okay, all the designs look a lot better than the concept art, obviously. But at the same time, but I was like kind of weary. But at the same time, seeing that last scene, I was like, okay, I'll watch this. I'll watch this because that seems like a totally Michelangelo thing to do. Just
it does, but at the same time, I was like, do the turtles ever take off their masks casually like that? I'm like,
hardly ever.
Yeah, hardly so that ever. Kind of like that kind of like, I wouldn't say messed me up, but like that got me completely off guard. But on top of that, that wasn't really like the main problem. When he took off his mask and we actually got a good look at his face, I'm like, what the hell is that? Is that Shrek? What is going on right now? That is ugly. That is freaking ugly. What is that? Yeah, so, yeah, as you said, we saw the memes online, like, everybody just making fun of how Michelangelo looked. Like, and I don't blame them. He looks, I'm not going to pull any punches with this. He looked hideous. I was like...
Yeah, which I guess is the point, because it's like, okay, they're mutants, they're not going to be like handsome or anything, but like,
you're still trying to market to kids, right?
I think it was mainly the nostrils. It was mainly the nostrils.
It was the nostrils and the lips.
Yes, because we never see that.
Yeah, I'm like, they're trying to make it a little too humanoid, and I don't know.
I mean, thinking about it, Beaks might have looked weird too, but
yeah, true. Like if they did the actual hard beaks that like turtles actually have, that probably would have been weird too. Like, go back to them looking like frogs. Like that's I would have been fine with that. But so when we actually got the full trailer of it and we actually got a good look at the turtles, it was still a bit off-putting, but I started to adjust a little bit more. Like I started to get used to how they looked. I still didn't love it, but I was like, okay, I see where they're going with it now. Like, okay, maybe this more like realism they're trying to do with the turtles, maybe it will be okay. It was kind of suspicious that they were like really hiding how Splinter looked in the marketing. Like you didn't actually get a full-on shot of him, and I was kind of concerned about that as well. And I was like, okay, huh. And then the Super Shredder stuff was kind of like throwing me off.
I saw the Shredder stuff and it was like, oh, so this is where the Transformers and Michael Bay stuff kind of comes in. Okay, I guess you got to use your talents that you picked up from Transformers. Sure, whatever, fine. Yeah, weird, but okay.
This literally felt like a Michael Bay production, even though we have to keep reminding ourselves and the viewers out there that he did not direct this movie. The actual director of this film is Jonathan Liebesman.
Yes.
And for those of you who don't know who that is, he directed Battle of Los Angeles, which was pretty forgettable in my opinion. And then he did Wrath of the Titans, which was mid. I don't know. I don't know why they got him to do this specifically. That seemed like a very random choice. But then again, I thought James Cameron getting Robert Rodriguez to do Alita Battle Angel was a random choice, and I ended up really enjoying that movie. So, who knows? Maybe this movie will feel a little bit more coherent now that Michael Bay is not behind the camera, but as I said, like the way the movie looks, the way it's shot, like
it's very Michael Bay.
It feels very Michael Bay.
It's very Michael Bay, and like the second, like mainly with Shredder, the second in the trailer where they show him and he has like 8 blades on each arm. I'm like, like now that I can't tell where the arm begins and where it ends, that's definitely Michael Bay.
Yeah, and I'm like, I tried to give it the benefit of the doubt because I remember in the 2003 show that the Shredder would have like these over the top mechs like that. So I'm like,
yeah, but it was never to that extent. It was never like he looked like if you were to put him in the background of like Dark of the Moon as some jobber Decepticon, he would fit in.
Yeah, I do think that the suit was a little bit excessive. But even with all that, I walked in this with an open mind, as much as I can anyway, because like this is Michael Bay, so it's like you can't be worse than Ninja Turtles 3, right? You can't be worse than Ninja Turtles 3. So it's like I'm just crossing my fingers, hoping that he doesn't completely destroy my childhood, because it will be 2 in a row with Transformers and Ninja Turtles. And I know and Michael Bay didn't work on this, but like this is also coming right off of G.I. Joe, The Rise of the Cobra, and Retaliation. I specifically didn't like Retaliation at all. So I'm like, it'll be 3 of my childhood properties that just got destroyed. So I'm like, please don't make it a 3rd one. Please don't. And overall, I think this movie is completely okay. It's okay. That's really all I feel about it. Like, I don't hate this movie, but I definitely don't love it.
Yeah.
For people that's saying that this is the worst incarnation of Ninja Turtles, I don't agree with you. It's total cap, man. It's like, once again, did you forget how bad Ninja Turtles 3 was? Did you forget how bad the Next Mutation is? I know you like Next Mutation, but like, that was a mess too. Like I feel like it was more of a mess than this. And it's just like, and even there's even some stuff in this movie that I liked more than Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, because I didn't love that either. But just like, look, this movie has problems. We're gonna get into it. Like, there is some stuff that they do with the lore that I don't 100% agree with. But like, I felt there was more effort put into this than Transformers. And that's probably not saying a lot to a lot of people, but like, I actually kind of felt a soul in this somewhat.
Yeah.
I didn't feel a soul in Age of Extinction. I didn't feel a soul in The Last Night, definitely. And it was hard to find a soul even in Dark of the Moon sometimes. But like this one, I actually felt like they were trying to do right by the fans somewhat. It didn't all the way come together, but I was like, there's some things in here that I actually thought was good, or at least interesting. In my opinion, they didn't. You can mess up a lot of things with Ninja Turtles, but the one thing you have to get right, is the chemistry and the dynamic between the Turtles and Splinter. And I still think they got that right in this movie. I still felt like the Turtles, as far as personality, as far as their interactions, for the most part, they still felt like the Turtles. I still like, I like the characterization of Splinter for the most part. There was some weird stuff with him we'll talk about later, but like, still, for the most part, they got those characters right. And what I also appreciate with this, that I didn't feel as much with the Transformers movies. One thing I was worried about is that, Megan Fox is April O'Neil, and the other humans are going to be feel like the main focus of a Ninja Turtles movie, and they'll feel like the backseat to them. I actually didn't feel that in this movie, and I was very worried about that because they easily could have done it. But like, I felt like a good 50-50 between the development with April and the development with the Turtles. Like, they didn't feel like, background characters. They didn't feel like just special effects. They actually tried to give them development equally with Megan Fox. I was expecting the humans to have equal development with the Turtles. I expected that. It's a Michael Bay production. They don't trust the CGI characters to carry the entire film 90% of the time, which is like it's whatever. But like at least I felt like the Turtles are in their own movie. I appreciate that. And I have a love-hate relationship with how the movie is shot and how the movie looks. Like it looks cool, but at the same time, it feels a little too much at the same time. And I kind of expected that with the Michael Bay production. But like, and as far as the plot, I could follow what was happening with the plot for the most part. Now there's some lazy writing with the plot. There's some plot holes in here, but for the most part, the plot wasn't too stupid. So, yeah, I thought, like I said, I don't love it, I don't hate it. I'm in the middle on this. That's pretty much how I feel about Ninja Turtles 2014. But that's overall how I feel about it. What did you think, Big B? What is your overall thoughts on Teenage Mutant? Oh, there's nothing that was kind of funny because they originally were going to call this movie Ninja Turtles, just Ninja Turtles, and you felt like with the marketing they put it the last minute. Okay, let's put Teenage Mutant in there so they won't upset it. So like you saw the little Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So it's like that literally felt like they just added that at the last minute. But that was a tie, right? What did you think about Ninja Turtles 2014?
I'm gonna be honest. I didn't go into this with an open mind. I was one of the hate watchers.
Fair enough.
Once again, this came out 2 months after Age of Extinction, so like I was already hot on the tail and like on the bandwagon of like, man, Michael Bay sucks. Anything that he's involved in is gonna suck. And even though he has had good stuff and will probably continue to have good stuff, but going into at the time, it was just that full-on just hate mode. Like they butchered all those characters there. I didn't even go to see Rise of Cobra because I'd like heard how that was going. I didn't want to see that childhood property get botched. I didn't want to see any of that. So yeah, no, I went into this hate watching it, and I was pleasantly surprised, very pleasantly surprised. And I'll agree with you. This movie did feel like it had a soul. It felt like they actually tried with this one. Like the way I think about it is like Age of Extinction was like Pinocchio before he got a soul. This movie he got a soul. So,
is it 100% a real boy?
No, not yet. But it's close. It's close. It's close. It's very close. Because I overall I do really. I don't know if love is too strong of a word, but I'll use it. I love this film, but I don't like. It's not in my top, like, 3. It's like top 4 maybe in terms of theatrical releases.
Oh, I'm surprised you went above like, because I thought you were gonna be like, I'm conflicted about.
I mean,
this.
I just rewatched it yesterday just to like get a fresh opinion of it, and no, I think I do love this film. I remember me and my cousin when it first came out on DVD, we watched it over and over and over again. Because like up until then we'd been watching like all the Ninja Turtles movies together. It was like a tradition. Whenever he came to visit, we would watch the current Ninja Turtles film a bunch. And at the time it was 2014. So there were a lot of times where we'd be just sitting there running around the house shouting, knock, knock, you're about to get yourself shocked and everything. But so this film's great. I like, because they did get the chemistry right between the brothers, and I do agree there were some weird choices with Splinter. I think particularly with like his origin and everything, but it's fine. It's fine. The way he interacts with all the turtles is great. I do think that he definitely plays the role of a father and a sensei pretty well. Not as well as the 2007 movie Splinter, in my opinion, but definitely does a good job. I love that this movie isn't afraid to make some references. Like it made. There was one scene in particular that I remember from my watch yesterday, where they referenced the 90s film, and it was like in their little flashback of their origin where like they're talking about, oh yeah, they all took to their weapons and everything, and Leonardo was like slicing up a bunch of pizza, and it was just like the first 90s film where it slices it, dices and all that, and then the pizza slice falls on Splinter's head and everything.
Yeah.
Other than that, I mean, while I enjoy it, I do kind of cringe a little bit whenever I can clearly see the Michael Bay influence. You can see it with all the sweeping and moving camera shots. The camera is almost afraid to stay steady. Like you can't really just have a medium shot. It has to be a medium shot with a zoom or some, at the very least. Otherwise, it's like going between some character's legs or going through a window or like circling around them or something like that. Just that the movie, once again, in the sort of Michael Bay feeling, feels very campy at times. It's like one-liners galore in this film. Like every character, I think, has at least one-liner. And they're predictable too. Like you have ones that are like time to take a bite out of the Big Apple or cowabunga or something like that. And the villain feels kind of flat to me. It's very stereotypical villain, predictable twist. Not even on my first watching, the second I see Sax, I'm like, oh no, that dude's evil. But
clearly.
Yeah. So overall, I like it, but I don't like how Michael Bay-y it feels. I guess is my best way of putting it.
Yep. Let me address some of the chat because it's actually a question from Ruby Groovy. What's up, man? Mutant Mayhem is currently showing a 97% critics rating on Rotten Tomatoes. What are your guys' thoughts about that? Is that like the highest that a Ninja Turtles rating has been?
It might be. Honestly, I saw the final trailer today because I think a final trailer came out either today or yesterday, and hearing that, I'm like, I was already optimistic about this film. Hearing that, I'm very optimistic about it. I usually, in the past few times that we've seen critic ratings, I'm sitting here thinking, oh no, critics don't know what they're talking about. I think I'm willing to believe their opinion here.
Right. Yeah, you guys know how I feel about Rotten Tomatoes, whatever. Like, there's certain things I kind of follow from Rotten Tomatoes, but there's a majority of it where I'm like, okay, I'll take that with a pinch of salt. This, hearing that it's a 97%, that actually does surprise me because, like, when it comes to the Ninja Turtles movies, they're not the most forgiving to the Ninja Turtles movies in general. So, like,
yeah, they're not forgiving with anything that's like kid targeted primarily. I don't know. It's weird. They go into it like they expect every kids movie to be rated R.
Yeah. Which I do think we need to have a little bit more variety with animation as far as stuff that appeals to kids and stuff that appeals to adults. But like, yeah. And this is also, once again, coming off of the Michael Bay ones that a lot of people were really mixed on. So it's like, I guess it is kind of surprising that it's getting that high of a rating. So I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, and looking through, it looks like, yeah, that might be, so far as I'm looking through these movies, it looks like that might be the highest.
So yeah, I'm expecting some really good things with this movie. I'm looking forward to seeing it. Yeah, from what I'm getting from the trailers, it already looks pretty good. Like the animation looks really cool. I'm really interested to see how much they dive into the teenage aspect of the Ninja Turtles. Yeah, my only concern is that with so many incarnations of Ninja Turtles, I'm just hoping that this one will stand out as far as like their style and like the tone or whatever. And I know I probably won't get what I personally want, which is like leaning more towards the dark, adult like tone of the comics. Like I'm not expecting that, but I'm hoping we'll get a little bit more influence from it, similar to the original live action movie and the 2007 CGI movie. So hopefully we'll have that a balance. And then Rhea, what's up? Said, what's up, DL? Dropping a like and comment for support. Have a great discussion. Oh, you gotta go away. Well, I appreciate you being here, leaving a like. She's so supportive. I love Rhea. She's great. Subscribe to her channel too if you haven't already. She talks about a whole bunch of things. She's a gamer as well. She's trying to get into podcasting and movie discussions as well. So she does some great stuff. But anyway, so let's talk about this movie. Where do I start with this? There's I have a lot of thoughts about this movie.
There is a lot to unpack here.
Lot to unpack. Let's start simple. Let's start with let's start with Megan Fox as April O'Neil. Let's peel that band-aid off. So I know a lot of people want me to just come on here and completely trash on her portrayal as April O'Neil, because for the most part, I don't hear a lot of kind things about her role in this movie. A lot of people don't like her. They thought her acting was really bad, that she's completely miscast. And I'm here to tell you, her performance was 100% absolutely, completely, positively fine. It was fine.
It was.
Look, I know I never expected Megan Fox to live up to the, Judith in the original movie, or even, I'm so sorry, I forget the actress's name from the second film.
On it.
But like, I'm not expecting her to even live up to that actress. I'm definitely not expecting her to live up to the 2003 show or the 2007 movie either. But just like,
Paige Turco, by the way.
Thank you. So I was upset about it when I first heard about it, as I said earlier. But once again, I tried to give her the benefit of the doubt because, as I said, I do like Megan Fox as an actress. Do I think that she has a wide range? No. But the roles I do see her in, for the most part, I think she's entertaining to watch. I think she has some charisma. If you actually you direct her, if you direct her good enough, she can give a good performance. I actually liked her in the Michael Bay Transformers movies. She's one of my favorite characters from the Michael Bay Transformers movies. I really liked her in Jennifer's Body. I thought she was great in that. So it's like, you give her a good role, she can do it. Now, that being said, her as April O'Neil, I do agree she was miscast. She was completely miscast. But she was trying her hardest. She was trying so hard to emulate that, that reporter that's like a little bit dorky, a little bit nerdy, a little bit eccentric, and you can tell that she's trying to give that delivery, when she's having her manic, explanations of trying to tell people that the Turtles exist and the Foot Clan is doing this. Like, you can feel her trying really hard, but it doesn't feel 100% natural. As far as because we know Megan Fox's personality, and it just doesn't really fit. April O'Neil's personality doesn't fit with Megan Fox's personality, so it feels like she's forcing it. And there were too many times where she's heavily breathing a little too much. Like every other scene, like when she's in a dangerous situation, all she does. It was too much of that. Too much of that.
I think she could scream a lot less.
That too. Now it's not Vicky Vale in Batman '89 level annoying, but one too many screams. Now I know what y'all are thinking out there, and I'm going to stop you right there before you even type it in the comments. Megan Fox is too hot to be April O'Neil. Shut your mouth right now. If you're a real Turtles fan, and you know for a fact, and if you say this is not the case, you're a freaking liar. You are lying to yourself. April O'Neil has always had sex appeal. Always had sex appeal. Now it varies. Like it's not blatantly in your face, but with any incarnation, whether it's the 80s cartoon, whether it's the 2003 cartoon, whether it's her in the 2007 movie, especially if it's in that original live action movie, April O'Neil is a bombshell, bruh. Bombshell. You see her in that original yellow tracksuit in the original cartoon, the cleavage is there.
There's a reason why a lot of people do that for the cosplays.
Yes, April O'Neil is hot. She walks around with midrits. Like, come on now. I like that complain, no, put it in the trash, man. Come on now. You guys, any of you have been attracted to April O'Neil in any point of your life, you know? Now, what I was worried about, though, you know, since this is a Michael Bay production, I was worried that we were going to get some perverted shots of Megan Fox, like, put her in... I mean, okay, yeah, you got one shot of, like, Will Arnett looking at her ass. Like, okay, that's fine. But, like, that was the only thing. Like, for the most part, they actually shot Megan Fox respectfully. And I appreciate that. And they didn't have her wearing, like, these skimpy outfits or anything like that. She didn't even have too much makeup on her face. You know, like, she didn't look dolled up, which I appreciate that. I appreciate that. And they actually had her wear, well, it's not a tracksuit. It's not the yellow tracksuit, but they had her wear the yellow jacket.
Close enough.
Like, close enough, you know? So I was like, okay. They actually put an effort on this.
Yeah, because, I mean, thinking about it, it would look kind of stupid if they had her running around in the yellow tracksuit. I get it. But
yeah, well, at least they had her wear yellow, which, you know, was more than what, you know, Judith wanted to do in the original movie, which I'm like, come on now, you gotta go good for a yellow rain jacket for one scene. But anyway, that she was fine. She was completely fine. Okay, so Will Arnett as Vern.
Much more interesting than Casey.
Wait.
Much more interesting than Casey in the next movie.
Oh, okay.
No. Don't you put those words in my mouth. No.
But actually, I kind of have to agree with you on that. It's very sad. But yeah, we'll get to Casey in the next movie. But like, actually, one more thing before we get more into Will Arnett, I forgot to say, I'm surprised that Megan Fox was working with Michael Bay again because of, you know, the falling up at Darker.
Yeah, I was just about to say, it's kind of that's what surprised me too, as someone who at the time was really starting to look into behind the scenes of everything, learning about like the whole Michael Bay and Megan Fox falling out, you know, after pre Dark of the Moon, and it's like, huh. All right. I mean, granted, the falling out was not entirely on Michael Bay.
True.
Yeah.
Steven, come on now.
Yeah, no. Steven, you. I'm sorry, man. You kind of stepped out of line on that one. That was
a little bit. But yeah. So I'm glad they were able to bury the hatchet for the most part. Anyway, yeah. Back to Will Arnett as Vern. Once again, fine, I guess. The comic relief. There was like half of his jokes that worked, and then half of the jokes I was like, oh my god.
Yeah. There were a couple of scenes with him that got like a smirk out of me at most, but like overall, it was like, okay, you know, he's the comic relief, but like these people don't really know how to write comic relief, I don't think.
No.
So like towards the second half of the movie, most of his comic relief is him going, "Oh my god, you're a talking turtle. They're talking turtles. Oh my god, there's multiple talking turtles." Like, yeah, we get it. All right, you're shocked by the talking turtles. We get it.
Yes, constantly flirting with April as well. I'm just like, yeah, okay, yeah, we get it. You have the hots for April. I get it.
That joke where he's like, "Look, you don't need to come up with an excuse to hang out with." That was like, I cringed at that joke even when I rewatched it yesterday. It's like, that's
like, oh, come on, man, come in.
Like you're reminding me a lot of Titan from Megamind. I don't like that.
You're not lying, Jesus. But yeah, I mean, I think he still had some good, you know, had a decent dynamic with April in the movie. Like, you know, they worked pretty well as a team, I guess. Yeah, not much to say about it outside of that. Okay, so Whoopi Goldberg is in this movie.
Surprised me even as a kid. Even as a kid seeing Whoopi Goldberg there, was like, what?
I was like, okay. I guess she needed some money. She needed a
Well, yeah,
paycheck.
because like at the time, even you hardly saw Whoopi Goldberg in anything. Like you just hear the
Right.
name, you would hear the name in hushed whispers, Whoopi Goldberg, Whoopi Goldberg, and then she's on screen in this theatrical release. It's like, whoa, 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 whoa. All right.
Okay. All right. Now correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe she does play a canon character from either the comics or the original animated the
I don't
original
know.
'80s cartoon, where he was like the head of the news outlet that April works at. It's like she's her name in the movie is Bernadette, but the original character was Byrne, I think.
Fine.
At least that's what I think that's what I remember. Like,
Oh yeah, no, yeah,
yeah.
yep, yep.
So
No, that yeah, '80s cartoon, yeah. At least from the '80s cartoon, yeah, yeah.
okay,
Burn Thompson.
okay. Which I mean, for those of you who are really hardcore fans of the '80s cartoon, I don't know if that really like
I
bothers people, but
I don't know. I don't recall seeing any sort of forum discussions of some rants of people going, they they changed the gender and the race of Burn Thompson. Like I don't know if that was anybody's like favorite character. If it was, cry about it. But I don't, I
I mean,
don't,
it's not like she's not in the movie that long, and like she
yeah.
pretty much would serve the same purpose as any other head of a news reporting outlet. So I don't know. It's kind of similar, like I don't know if it's to the same extent, but like when Lawrence Fishburne was casted as Perry White in Man of Steel, like, oh,
Oh yeah.
they swapped Perry. I'm like, he does the exact
Well, it's
same
like
thing that Perry does in like
I
the original comics
I
and like
don't
animated series.
I don't know. I feel like overall, because they do still have people that are like that. I think overall the Ninja Turtles fan base is a lot more chill about stuff like that. Because like even Rise of the TMNT, they went and made April black, and you hardly really saw any outcry of people like, oh, they changed April's race. A lot of people were just like, okay, that's cool,
Yeah, I mean,
neat.
yeah, it's all right. Even though
Hmm.
I don't know if you see this pattern in Hollywood, but it seems like whenever there are characters that are originally redheads, they always get race swapped to a black woman.
Yes.
That's very odd.
It is very odd. It almost feels, and it feels like that happened pretty soon after there was that whole movement of like, you need to give black actors more jobs outside of like Thug 1 and Thug 2. They were like, all right, who is the redhead from this thing? All right, black.
It's like, okay, so you're gonna expand the gingers, huh? It's like they're already an endangered species, so it's like you're just
Well, so in like 50 years, when they cry out and say that they need more jobs, then they'll swap out a different race.
if there's still gingers in the world, I'm
Yeah,
sorry to say, but that's an actual thing. There's not a lot of gingers in the world anymore, which
yeah,
breaks my heart because gingers are beautiful. Like
yes.
I hope they don't go extinct, but like yeah, that's actually a concern, because Iris West was race swapped from the Flash. We recently got Ariel from the Little Mermaid being race swapped to Halle Bailey,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, April O'Neil is now black.
I mean, it's also kind of weird that like a lot of that happens because like in Hollywood you could easily change a person's hair color,
Yeah,
but I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know, but anyway, I thought Whoopi Goldberg was cool. She was cool. Um, doing her Whoopi Goldberg thing. I
Yeah,
love
I
to see
mean
Whoopi Goldberg in anything.
yeah
So
yeah for the two scenes she was there, it was
yeah.
cool.
Okay, now it's starting to get into the characters that I'm like, about. Let's just talk about Baxter Stockman. I'm sorry, that's not Baxter Stockman. Are you sure?
No,
Are
no,
you
no.
sure?
That's the next movie. That's the next movie. This guy was, like I said, the flattest, most stereotypical villain with the most predict. Like people want to talk about how Frozen had a predictable villain twist. No, no, no. This. Like
Yeah.
you know from the second that man is on screen behind the mayor, you know immediately like no, that dude's up to no good.
Yeah, even though they kind of spoiled that in the trailer,
they
like
did.
we know that he's gonna be a bad
They
guy.
did, but even then, they didn't even have to spoil that in the trailer. That man has evil rich person energy. He, like you know immediately.
Exactly. Like, I mean, from the get go, ever since like the reshoots, I was thinking, okay, they're gonna change his character from being the Shredder, which I thought was a complete mistake. That was one of the biggest.
100%. That would have. It would have. It was one of the. Because I think this is still around the time where like a lot of like Asian roles were still getting like swapped for like Caucasian or something that wasn't Asian, and people were like, what's up with that? But like
going from that to, I thought they were going to like change his character to Baxter Stockman, because that they easily could have done that.
Yes.
He literally looks like
the 80s Baxter Stockman. Yes.
Like, why do they keep doing this? They know we want to see it. Why do they keep doing this? Who the hell is Eric Sachs?
I don't know.
Please tell me, if you probably know better than I do. Is there anyone in the original lore that is called Eric Sachs? Because I don't remember. Did they literally make this character up?
I believe they did. I don't see any record. I don't know. But what I do know is that no sane, good person lives in a dingy little like warehouse laboratory in the middle of winter wonderland. Nobody does that. Man lives in a part of New York where it's always snowing. I don't.
Yeah, that was so odd too that they easily are able to drive to it whenever. Like,
yeah, they're like, this is still New York. It's snowing all the time though.
Is it? You look like you're in the Caucasus Mountains. Like, what
yeah. I was like, this is Antarctica. What are you talking about?
Right. And okay, so that was like part of the movie that like they felt like they could reshoot certain things, but they can't reshoot everything.
Yeah. Like, I feel like it was one of those things where like they had a whiteboard of like, we have to have these things in there. One of the things was avalanche. So
right. And it's like they have to put that like exposition of remember when Sax was explaining to April about where he came from, and that he used to come from Japan, and he was raised in Japan, and
immediately there.
That was so weird. It's like I guess that was the type of stuff that like kind of still transitioned into this movie of like he was actually supposed to be the Shredder, but he's not
really. I get that. You were doing like some like kind of like Last Samurai type deal with that, but whatever. They had like I said, he was a completely predictable villain. The second that he handed her that card, even as a kid, I was like, oh, that's a tracking device.
Evil. Yeah, that was very predictable with the card. I was thinking like either it was going to be the card, or like they put a tracker on her phone or something. Like,
man keeps saying, "I'm going to change the world," and it's like, okay,
yeah, change the world. Like, okay, sure, okay, but William Fichtner is doing his William Fichtner thing. Yeah, okay. Whatever. We'll talk more about their plan later, but
because man literally announces it like every other stereotypical villain.
Yep, and it's like some over the top Amazing Spider-Man 1 level.
Yeah. He pretty much starts it like he might as well have started off that speech with, "Well, you see."
Well, you see, this is like okay. About to be rich, like stupid rich.
Like stupid rich. Gonna take a bite out of the Big Apple. Like, okay.
Okay, aren't you already rich?
Yeah, with his stereotypical action movie briefcase that contains the Doomsday Device thing.
Time to take a bite in the Big Apple. I'm like,
yeah,
wow.
Wearing an all black skin tight suit with his briefcase containing the MacGuffin that's gonna like save or end everything.
Such a Saturday morning cartoon, and maybe that was their intention, because it's like, oh, it's like the cartoon, but I'm like
that's where like the campy one-liner stuff comes in that I was talking about. It's like, oh man,
Yeah. Okay, so Karai, trash.
I like, okay. I saw Karai was going to be in the movie, and I was like, okay, this is awesome. I'm really glad to see a live action Karai. That's fantastic. We don't get those. This is great. This is fantastic. They militarized the Foot Clan. Why? Why?
What? What
Like
this Foot Clan?
here's
What the actual
yeah.
hell is that?
That is like people were saying, not my Roderick, not my Foot Clan.
Not my Foot Clan.
I also hate, like, even now watching this movie again, I hate that for some reason it feels like with a lot of the movies that came out around this time, or a lot of Michael Bay movies too, they for some reason need to have a tertiary villain that's usually American. Like that's the case with like all the Michael Bay films. It can't just be the Decepticons are the bad guys. No, it's Decepticons, and then there's this one rich dude. And it's the same thing here. It's like, okay, it's the Foot Clan, but there's this one rich dude. And there has to be militaristic stuff involved. It's like, why couldn't the movie just be Karai and Shredder are the main antagonists, and they're fully like traditional ninja? Maybe you have the cybertech ninja Shredder outfit. Fine, that's cool. You don't need Saxton.
Cybertech Foot Clan. That's okay. I mean, it's a little over the top, but at least it would be a little more consistent.
Yeah. You don't need Saxton. You don't need him in there. His main purpose in this movie is to tell April, I killed your dad, and then shoot at her with a gun that has an endless clip, apparently. But an endless mag. But like so there was no reason for you to have a tertiary antagonist. You could have just been back to basics, Shredder and Karai. That's fine. That it would have been a perfectly fine, serviceable movie. You would have had to change some things, sure. You would have had to, I hope you would have had to demilitarize the Foot Clan because they're not supposed to be soldiers in that sense.
No. They look like soldiers that work for Cobra Commander.
They felt like U.S. military. They felt like U.S. Spec Ops, which once again is one of those things where it feels very Michael Bay-y, where it's like, okay, you're making this live action film, you got to include the military in some way, and it's like, why? Why?
It's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, it's not Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles go to like Guam or something. It's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, man.
Right, and yeah, to your point, like this literally could have just been the Turtles versus the Shredder and the Foot Clan, but like if you're going to have a tertiary I can't even say the word tertiary character.
Tertiary,
yeah, like you could have easily just made William Fichtner Baxter Stockman because he's a canon character.
Yes, and at that point, you don't have to have the militaristic Foot Clan. You could have just had Mousers. And I know how much he likes to have CGI robots, just Mousers.
But no, it's like you're halfway being faithful to the source material.
It felt like at any moment they could have said the Transformers exist in this universe, and I would have believed them.
Oh, it really felt like they were about to do a crossover.
That's how similar, aesthetic wise, and I guess plot structure wise, these films feel. They all follow the same structure. Transformers and these films. It's always there's a doomsday device. The villains have this doomsday device or are about to have the doomsday device. The heroes probably have something that will assist this doomsday device. They got the thing from the heroes to assist this doomsday device. They got to go to the highest place in this city or area or tourist attraction to unleash the doomsday device. It's going to destroy the planet, take over the city, or ruin whatever. And then the heroes are going to stop it in the nick of time, nearly unleashing it, probably blowing it up along the way and killing whoever's responsible. That is always the plot of these movies.
Yep, and even with the G.I. Joe movies, like it's not as extreme as these films, but like even they feel like they're kind of copying off of Transformers a little bit. Like
it was such a weird era where everything felt the same. Everything felt the same. Like people say that Marvel feels the same. No, this felt the same. And these didn't even have anything to do with each other. Granted, yes, a Ninja Turtles, like Anthony says in the chat, Ninja Turtles and Transformers crossover would be great. I would love that. But like, considering that this was coming hot off the heels of Age of Extinction, that didn't do it a lot of favors.
No. And at the time, I was like, I was okay with them doing like a possible crossover with Transformers and GI Joe, but like it got to a point where it's like, oh no, neither of these franchises are good right now. Like, no, do not cross
Oh
over.
yeah, because you had Rise of Cobra, you had Age of Extinction, and then you had this, and it was like, no, stop,
Retaliation. I'm like, ah, like, but yeah, man. So it's so weird. They're trying to bring that militarized stuff in Ninja Turtles. It just does not work.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. And speaking of that, let's talk about the Shredder.
I will start off by saying I get that they did it to make him seem like a traditional, martial arts master and everything, but like, why are you gonna have him speak in Japanese if everyone's just gonna talk to him in English, even Karai?
Yeah, why is Karai speaking in English?
Yeah, like why is it that he's the only person that's speaking Japanese in this whole film? And he just maintains his half of the conversation in Japanese. Like, why is it like I feel like this Shredder could have been fantastic. The actor that played him could have done an even better role if they gave him more material. But this man he plays backseat villain to Saxton.
Yeah.
Because you don't see this man on screen nearly as much as Saxton. When he comes on screen to fight Raphael, he felt like Tatsu. He felt like the person that the Shredder or the main villain sends in to go deal with people because he's busy doing something else. That is how he felt. And I hate that for this version of him.
Yeah.
Because he could have been a much better, much more intimidating figure if you just gave him the time.
Yep. And once again, I think it just goes back to like the reshoots they were trying to do. They were trying to reshoot as much as possible, but like there's just certain things that they couldn't just retroactively change. Either they didn't have enough time or enough money, or like it would just completely restructure certain things, because it is clear that William Fichtner is supposed to be the main villain of this movie.
Absolutely. And then honestly, it wouldn't have surprised me if you strip away the CGI in those shots and it was Fichtner behind that CGI. It would not surprise me at all. Because you never see like a helmet come off or anything, or like some face reveal of him underneath there. We never see the man's face.
Nope. Even like even when the Shredder's talking in the suit, like you could probably tell like they probably did some like dubbing of the voice to replace William Fichtner's voice in there.
Yeah.
So it's like,
and you never see his face, so you never know if he's really the one in that suit. You never see him put on the suit. You don't know how he gets into the suit. I'm sure that in the original Fichtner shots, you probably see him suit up or something.
Oh, you mean like this in the teaser?
Yes.
Oh,
exactly like that. Exactly like that. So I like, you cannot convince me otherwise. That is 100% supposed to be Fichtner in those shots.
Absolutely. So yeah, it's just like, I guess they couldn't like really just retroactively just give Shredder more to do and like restructure him to be like a lesser known villain. Like I feel like they still could like be more creative with the editing at the very least to make it seem like Shredder has more to do, but like not.
No,
even that.
I just completely realized something that made me even more frustrated with this version of Shredder.
Uh-oh.
So in the scene where it's the one-on-one of Shredder versus Raph.
Yep.
That fully explains why Shredder just stomps on his shell and then walks away. He's going to go activate the Doomsday device because that's Fichtner behind that suit. If it was actually Shredder there and him and Fichtner were two separate entities, he would have just straight up killed Raphael because he's like, I've got all the time in the world. Fichtner, Saxton's going and unleashing the Doomsday device. No, he leaves because that was Saxton.
Oh my God. I was wondering that too, rewatching it. I was like right before they fight, Shredder says to Raph, "The fourth cage is for you." But you
never see these characters in the same room.
Oh. Yeah, it was so strange, as you said. Like he steps on his shell. I mean, he steps on his shell, cracks it, and then walks away. I'm like, wait, why are you walking away?
Yes, because if he didn't have a doomsday device that he needed to prep, or an antidote that he needed to prep, he would have. The cure was probably never a part of the plot at all. It was probably just, I'm just gonna unleash this doomsday device. And oh my god. No, I hate this movie. Nope.
Dang, you went from I actually like this movie to like, nope, I hate it now.
That realization alone of how they shoehorned in this pointless B plot that didn't need to exist between Saxton and April O'Neil. Oh my god, that explains why that last scene felt so phoned in. Oh no.
Yeah.
Because that whole last scene with Saxton and April, and they're in the laboratory, that felt so phoned in. That felt so last. Oh my.
Yeah, and then once another thing, going back to like Raph again, because like this happened another time earlier in the movie when after they destroy their lair, and then Shredder's like, "Where's the fourth?" And then they just say he's dead. And then they're like, okay, that's fine. Destroy this place. No. Why are you leaving him?
No.
You have to make sure that he's dead.
That, like, if that was actually Shredder, he would have been like, oh, all right, you guys go ahead. You take these guys to Saxon so he can do whatever. I'm gonna destroy that or I'm gonna find and capture or kill that last turtle, and probably the rat.
Yeah. Why are you leaving Splinter? I thought you needed all the blood. You needed all the blood?
Yeah, no, instead he just gut checks him and leaves him in the middle of the dojo. That explains so much. Oh, I hate that oh no. No, I hate this movie.
I thought that was just lazy writing, but then
no.
you brought that up and it actually makes sense.
It was literally they had to shoehorn in those reshoots to make the plot work. That's why you never see Shredder's face, because it was such a shoehorned last minute. Oh no.
Yeah.
That was probably Tatsu too. I don't know. Oh no.
Oh god.
Oh no.
I mean, brownie points for trying?
No brownie points for trying.
No?
You could have tried harder. You could have reshot that scene.
So would you have rather have taken William Fichtner fully being the Shredder, or would you take them clunkily trying to reshoot them to do a more accurate Shredder?
After that, I would rather, after that realization, I would rather have one of two things. Either Fichtner be Shredder, which I think would have been better and made more sense now that I'm sitting here thinking about it this way, or you just completely reshoot everything, have a better Shredder, and just either have Fichtner be Baxter Stockman or remove him from the plot. That's like,
yeah, push back the release date of the movie. Like,
oh my god, like, it's clear they tried, but like, dude.
Yeah, it's clunky. It's really, really clunky.
Because I'm sitting here thinking about it, because like for like student films and everything, and small budget films and everything, you know, we've had to reuse shots from like earlier things where like maybe the plot wasn't the same thing, and I'm realizing like, oh, you just did the same thing, but it was a professional thing.
Oh. Okay, well, let's try to continue on. We're trying not to focus on that one little thing, because we haven't even got to the turtles yet. So
I know. Yeah, take me away from this realization. Sure. I don't like this.
Well, let me talk real quick about the suit like itself. Okay, so initially when I first saw this movie, we talked about earlier, like in Secretly Ooze, where, you know, Shredder turned into Super Shredder with the ooze, and like that was a really cool design for Shredder, and I was really frustrated that we pretty much got blue balled with a fight between the Turtles and Super Shredder, right? So in my mind I was thinking, okay, maybe this is their way of making up for the fact that we didn't get an actual fight with Super Shredder and Secret of the Ooze. So they're like, let's have a Super Shredder-ish in this movie.
Right, which I think they do call him Super well in like official credits and everything.
In credits and stuff like that, they think they do say that. And also, like, it kind of makes sense why they wanted to upgrade Shredder as much as they do, because the turtles in this movie are huge. So they have to make Shredder look like he's somewhat of an imposing threat.
Yeah. I mean, they literally say, like, these guys have super strength and everything. It's like, yeah, there's no way a normal dude's standing against that. So
right. So I get the mindset of doing what they did. And like I said, I'm also, like, thinking about in the 2003 show where they upgraded Shredder to, like, different armors and mechs and stuff like that. So it's like, I tried to give it the benefit of the doubt. Rewatching it, though, like, it does feel a little too excessive. It does. It's a little too much going on. Like, he has, like, look at all this. Like, he has sharp knives on top of his sharp knives. He has these swords and, like, large daggers that, like, are magnetic, and he can draw them back to his suit, and like multiple swords, and it's too much going on.
There are little splashes of color, and they're mainly like beige, and like there are like little nods to like the usual Shredder outfit, but like no, I mean, it's very overdone. It's very over the top. It's very Transformers. Like I said, you could toss him in the background of Dark of the Moon and he'd fit right in. But
he looks like a prototype Megatron.
Yeah, he looks like he would be someone that's like sitting there, like, you know, like drooling, like some sort of like Energon goop or something next to Megatron, going, "Ah, come here, boy," or something like that. So
I was waiting for a point in the movie for him to say Decepticons.
Yeah. I was sitting there like chasing April up a tower or something. Give me the canister.
Give me the Allspark.
Yeah.
But and then it's also very off-putting because you see how you know there's so many parts to that armor, but like he's so easily able to maneuver in that suit.
Oh yeah, it's weird. It's like, no, you should be like walking like this the whole time, man. You're not. There's no way.
These flip kicks and like these all these, like, you know, just
like, nah, you got to be like a Kryptonian underneath that thing to be able to be moving all that weight like that. There's no way. There's no way.
Freaking way. Like this is not like a robo mech. This is a suit. So like you have to be able to move in that suit. Like, I don't know, like, and like to be fair, you know, like when we actually see like the Shredder outside of his costume, he is a big dude, I guess. But
and like they show him pulling off some interesting like feats. Like the first scene you see him, he's fighting with like his on his knees with like his arms bound, and he's holding his own. So like, okay, but I still wouldn't believe that a man like that could jump around in a suit like that.
Yeah, so, you know, I commend them for trying to like stay in tone with, you know, how the turtles are and stuff like that. And I like that we actually got like a physical confrontation with not only the turtles but Splinter.
Yes, that was probably my favorite fight in the whole movie, to be honest with you.
Dude, literally the same. I'm literally the same.
Yeah.
Like, my favorite fight scene of the entire movie. I know a lot of people are saying like the avalanche sequence, which
that was a wonderfully shot sequence and everything, and it was a nice action sequence, but I wouldn't consider that a fight. This was a fight. This was a duel
fight. And like that's something I've been wanting to see from like the live action, the original live action movies, because, you know, even though Splinter's still great in those films, but like I really want to see him get down with Shredder.
Something we potentially could have seen if we ever got a sequel to TMNT 07, but
true. Which I'm like, oh man, couldn't get that. But I'm like I said, it feels like they're trying to make up for stuff they couldn't do in the previous movie. So I commend them for doing it.
I loved. With this Splinter in particular, I loved how he used his tail.
Oh yeah, that like the tail it hyper extends and it's like it has this mind
Yeah,
of
it's
its
like
own.
got like power behind it and everything. I like that. I
Yeah,
liked that. I need
yeah.
like I wish we saw that more.
I agree. I agree. All right. Well, let's talk about the turtles themselves. Um, as I said, they got their personalities down packed. Like they feel like the turtles. Like Leonardo feels like Leonardo. Raphael feels like Raphael. Michelangelo definitely feels like Michelangelo. And Donatello, this is like the nerdiest we've ever seen Donatello. So it's like I'm glad they got that stuff down. Because that was one thing I was worried about. Because like with Michael Bay's influence, like you see how he likes to portray certain Transformers that aren't actually like their personalities from the cartoon. So they could have done whatever they wanted with the turtles, but like I'm glad that didn't happen. Like I still felt like the brotherly bond between all of them. I felt the father-son dynamic with Splinter and the turtles that was still there.
Yeah, and yeah, no, I agree. And like the only thing that kind of felt a little off, and it's I think it's mainly because of what they titled it, because they could have just titled it Ninja Turtles and it would have felt fine, but they felt like adults.
Yeah, they kind of did. They felt like at the most college kids. Like I didn't feel like they were fully teenagers, especially how they look. They definitely don't look like teenagers.
I mean, Michelangelo, I believe, being a teenager, but like the others, it was especially Raph.
I think Don kind of felt like a teenager.
Yeah, maybe Don too, but like Leo and Raph, it was like nah.
These are adults.
Yeah. These guys got like careers.
They got a 401k and everything. Like nah, bro.
They're talking about how to pay back these student loans. It's
yeah, definitely. But yeah, one thing, one of my two of my favorite moments in the movie when it comes to their dynamic. One, a lot of people were already talking about so much, which I didn't feel like we got enough of this in the movie. No, the scene in the elevator. With the MC Mikey.
I loved that. I do love as well that in the 2012 show they referenced it.
Oh
but
yeah.
Like that moment, like there were a lot of moments where like they felt like brothers. Even in like action scenes, they felt like brothers. Which once again, that is something that they totally got right. But that scene in the elevator right there made them feel like not just brothers, but that really did make them feel like teenagers, because that's such a like teenager thing to do.
Yes. Just absolutely, yeah. That moment was just so nice. That literally just felt like that felt like vintage Turtles right there.
Yeah, it's like these are brothers, and these are kids, man. Like what?
Kids, like I just love to see that relatability for the Turtles, and even as you said, even when they're in action set pieces, when they're interacting with each other, they're working off each other. They felt close, like
Yeah.
So
I think that they definitely hit a home run with the casting here too, with how they were able to bounce off each other and everything. And even in that last scene where they're like tumbling down the buildings and everything, it's like that. Their whole like last minute confessions and everything, it's like that felt like a very brotherly moment too. That was nice.
Very beautiful, very very beautiful. Even though like there's like certain moments where it's like, if this is somebody's first exposure to Ninja Turtles, like this is the first Ninja Turtles movie they've ever saw, there's certain interactions that the brothers have, and like the interactions that they have with Splinter, that felt like their stuff. There's like bonding that they had that you don't see, like the whole like confession that Raphael has. Like it felt like the stuff that he was saying. It felt like he was talking about moments that the Turtles had before the events of this movie happened.
Yeah, which I would have loved to see. Which it almost feels like this would have been great if it was like the third or fourth film at this point.
Right. Because like they're like expecting the audience to know like the Turtles and like Splinter have like this really close dynamic, but like we didn't get enough time with that.
I mean, and they give you hints of that, like when they are in the what do they call it, the Hashi?
The Hashi, to the Hashi.
Yeah. Like, and they're like, I'm not gonna break if Donnie's not breaking. It's like, okay, it feels like they've been in here plenty of times before. I kind of wish we would have seen that, but like, you get that vibe.
Right. That's another one of my favorite moments too in the Hashi, like the
Mhm.
99 cheese pizza. Like, man, that was so funny. So funny. I love that stuff. Loved it. But anyway, the other moment that like actually this moment actually almost got me choked up. Because once again, this is a moment that I don't remember ever seeing in any other incarnation of Turtles. When Splinter's fighting Shredder and
Yeah, I
he's
was just
getting his
about to
ass
say.
kicked, and then the Turtles are trying to rush to him, and then he locks the gate or whatever, and like they're panicking and stuff like that.
Yeah,
And then
yeah,
Leo goes like, "Dad, what are you doing?" I'm like,
yeah,
he called him
yeah.
dad.
And like the desperation, because you see Mikey's switch from goofball to like immediate, like, no, this is serious, as
What's
they're like
that
trying to
guy?
pry that gate up, and
Yeah.
you can tell he's putting his everything into that, and it's like that was such a cool moment.
Like, oh my god, that moment actually got me choked up a little bit. Like, man, get the Splinter, god damn it! Gosh darn it! I did not expect that moment to happen in this movie. I
Mm-hmm.
was like,
Mm-hmm.
they actually got me there.
Mm-hmm.
Even when there was a bunch of chaotic stuff happening, which I'll talk about the action scenes more later, but like that moment happened, I was like, oh, that hit me. That really hit me. But yeah, man, like, yeah, they just got the personalities down for the most part. Even though like with Splinter, the Tony Shalhoub voicing Splinter was kind of off for me because I'm always thinking about, oh, it's the guy from Spy Kids with the multiple heads. Yeah, I instantly recognized his voice too. Dang, I'm forgetting. Minion, that was his name in Spy Kids. Like, I'm always thinking, oh, that's Minion from Spy Kids. Oh, it's that one guy from Galaxy Quest. Galaxy Quest. So that was interesting. They got him for Master Splinter. I still thought he did a solid job, but like, his voice was probably the most distracting as far as like I recognized his voice for the most part.
Yeah, and I mean, they honestly, I feel like they could have just, because he's CGI, they could have gotten like Darren Dunstan, the 2003 Splinter voice, and it would have been fine. But
Yeah,
I think this guy did fine. I think this Splinter actor did fine.
did fine. And then I didn't expect for them to get Johnny Knoxville to be Leonardo.
Yeah, it worked.
It really worked. Like he sounded like Leonardo. I was like, wow, like, yeah, it scratches my head why this specifically was like, we need to get Johnny Knoxville to be a Leonardo. But like, I guess after hearing how he sounded, I was like, yep, okay, yeah, he sounds like Leonardo. And then now a lot of people knew who he was back then, but now that he's starting to get into more things, like he's starting to getting more of a name for himself. Alan Ritchson, who voices Raphael, I thought he was a really good Raphael as well.
Oh yeah,
he's the new Jack Reacher, and on Amazon, and he also was in Fast X recently as that cop. But yeah, I thought he was a really good Raphael.
absolutely. And I kind of slight topic with these films. I appreciate how vocal he is about how they were treated during the production of these films too.
Oh, that really upset me.
He was probably the most vocal voice about it, and I feel for him for the stuff that him and the other actors had to go through with that. But
yeah,
he seems like a really cool guy, and he was definitely a perfect choice for Raph here.
Absolutely. It's not a surprise that they didn't have Johnny Knoxville be in the motion capture suit. It was somebody else. I'm like, oh yeah, you dare not put Johnny Knoxville in that terrible situation, but you're gonna have all these no names be in that terrible situation. Like, how freaking dare you, man? But yeah, I thought all the voice acting was really good. Okay, let's talk about these designs because I'm just eager to talk about them. Okay, so as far as Leonardo and Michelangelo, I thought for the most part they were okay. Like I look at them instantly, and I'm like, okay, yep, that's Leonardo, that's Michelangelo. Let's start with Leonardo. His design is probably the least distracting out of all four of them.
Yes,
I like the bamboo armor on the front, and like it looks like he has pieces of like some samurai or shogun armor, which I really like that.
yeah, I question how they got their hands on those things, but I like it,
Yeah.
and like I going into this movie, I expected all the turtles to be over designed. They were a lot less over designed than I thought they'd be. But honestly, in this setting, out of all the settings that the turtles are in post this movie, I think that the over designed parts of their outfits here, especially Donatello's, who I'm sure we'll talk about in a second, I think they felt the most at home here, and I think it's specifically because even though he wasn't directing, Michael Bay was involved. But
So, one thing I guess you're gonna give kudos to Michael Bay is like as far as their aesthetics, he was trying really hard to make sure that you can make a good distinction between all four turtles, because like in previous versions, all the turtles look the same outside of the color of the mask and the pigmentation of their skin.
Right.
So
right.
it's like. Okay, go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead.
I was about to say, so it's nice that in this version, and I think this starts to translate, with the versions after this, is that they're trying to make the turtles look a little bit more unique as far as how they're built, and like the color, also the color of their skin, and like what they decide to wear outside of the bandanas and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I think that whoever was in charge of character designs did a good job of making you believe that these characters could exist in like a real life modern day setting, where it's like, in most interpretations, mainly predating this, it feels like that could never exist. Like these characters, like it's like, where'd they get the bandanas from? Where'd they get the belts from? Where'd they get all this? But it's like their outfits and their belts and their everything. It feels like they're like stuff that they found in the sewer for the most part. Like their bandanas even feel like it's just like scraps and cloths that they found in somewhere in the sewers of New York. Leo's belt has like that NYC badge on it, and it feels like it was probably like some purse strap before it became his belt that he uses to hold his sheaths for his katanas. So it makes it feel very in universe, very in New York, and I appreciate that. It does feel over designed, but I appreciate it.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I like that. As far as like what they decide to like wear, like it's they get it from scraps in the environment and stuff in the sewer to just pick up. So I like that. Okay, so moving on to Michelangelo. We're gonna go from best to worst. As I said, Leonardo is the least distracting in my opinion. But yeah, then we get to Michelangelo, which still I look at him for the most part and like that's Michelangelo, but I don't know how you feel about it, but I think as far as him as a turtle, he's the ugliest out of the four.
Oh, he is, and I in all honesty, I feel like he had the second most distracting design. I think it's mainly
really?
I think it's mainly that necklace. I think it's mainly that necklace for me.
But, I mean, yeah, that necklace is as I said, it's kind of like weird and distracting.
Yeah,
and then he has the sunglasses hanging off of the necklace.
Yeah, and it's the pointless sunglasses too, as well as like the skateboard on his back, and like at least with Raph, his shades are actually like he's wearing them, so like okay.
Yeah, it's like it's on his person. Like that's another thing with them having so much stuff on their person and like they're getting like thrown around and like hitting walls and stuff like that. Some of that stuff got to fall off, and they all are conveniently just stay on their person the entire time.
Especially Donatello, and it's like the amount of times they get shot at. It's like, well, how's that stuff not damaged?
I don't know.
It's like you're bulletproof. The stuff you're wearing isn't.
It's not. So it's like, a bunch of that stuff should be falling off, but that's whatever. But the necklace, the glasses, the skateboard. Even though I didn't mind the skateboard because he likes to skateboard. So
which like that's cool. That's cool. Like I mean, everything that these characters are wearing feels very much like it's a part of their personality. Like it's something that they would wear. You know, Leonardo being so stoic and so like ingrained in like the art of Bushido and everything, he would totally wear like a more traditional outfit. Michelangelo being like the party dude, yeah, he would totally wear like those beads and like the shades and everything. Okay, cool, I get it. He's very lackadaisical. You know, Raphael would definitely wear a lot of the rough, you know, rough and tumble kind of stuff. Donatello would definitely wear a lot of tech gear stuff, but you know.
Yeah, I specifically do like his rocket powered skateboard. I thought that was I do like that.
That was a cool thing that Donatello totally put together for him.
Heck yeah. But yeah, but as far as like how he looks as a turtle, like he's probably the most difficult to look at compared to everybody else.
100%. But he's probably the one with the most screen time, I think.
Yeah, he is. And okay, another thing I just gotta mention. One thing I just thought that was really weird. Him flirting with April the whole movie.
Yeah, it feels like it's typically, if it's any of the turtles. Well, okay, I guess if it's any of the turtles, it's either Donnie or Mikey that tend to flirt with April. Which, okay, I get it, but like,
I'm sorry, I don't. I think it's gross. Whenever they do that, it is gross.
Yes,
I don't care.
No, it is gross. It is gross. But I get it because it's like, okay, you're teenagers and everything, sure, but it's like you're teenage turtles at the same time. But whatever. I guess it's supposed to get across the point, like, they're teenagers, hormones are raging and everything. Okay, whatever, cool. But
like, it's just whatever version like they did in the 2003 show, they did in the 2012 show.
The 2012 show was the worst.
I'm like, stop doing that.
Right.
He is a mutant animal.
Right.
He's a human being. It's not going to work.
Right. Donnie, it ain't gonna happen, dog. It ain't gonna happen. She's gonna go with the homeless hockey player. That's
like, yeah, I'm sorry. That's how it's supposed to be. That's how, like, Casey and April forever. And I know what y'all are about to say for people that follow my channel for the longest time. Oh, but Beauty and the Beast is one of your favorite films of all time. He's used to be a human.
He is a human, and he becomes a human at the end.
So don't give me that garbage. Do not give me that garbage. And another thing, like, whenever they have the turtles flirt with April, and like, yeah, you just talked about, oh, no, like, since they're kind of humanoid, the hormones are rushing. I never, ever want to think about the turtles having penises. I don't ever want to think about that. And that's what I was thinking whenever Mikey is flirting with him. He gave that really weird comment, like,
he's like, oh, my shell's tightening.
She's so hot, my shell's tightening.
Yeah, like,
no, I don't
I'm also sitting. Well, I'm also sitting there like, you're that close with your siblings, dog.
A little too close. A little too close. Like, oh my god, it's like, I got dibs, and like, I'm like, oh my god, I hated it. Just no. But anyway, moving on, back to the designs. Raphael.
Yeah, like I said, I think he was the second least. I mean, honestly, he might be the least distracting design for me because he has the least going on. I mean, the only thing that really distracts me is that man somehow has a toothpick in his mouth all the time. But
all the freaking time. Actually, you know what? You kind of have a point. I'm gonna rearrange my stuff so it's like it'll go from. I guess, yeah, Raph has the least amount of stuff, so I guess he likes the least distracting, but then Leonardo, and then Michelangelo, and then Donatello. But I will say that, like, Leonardo, even though he has more stuff going on, he looks, in my opinion, he looks the coolest out of the four. So that's why I'm absolutely.
And, you know, like I've said with all these turtles, they look like how you probably expect them to look. Because, like, you know, Raphael definitely looks like he's more of, like, the street smart, like rough and tumble, like I'm not afraid to throw the first punch, whatever kind of guy.
Mm-hmm. Now, the couple of things that's kind of throwing me off. Yeah, one thing, the toothpick, that was kind of distracting. Two, it took a while for me to adjust to this, but like the full on mask that covers his head, that's starting to become like a stay with him now. At first I didn't like the full on cover on his head.
That's fair.
Yeah, but like the more I see him in it, like I'm starting to be like, you know what? that kind of works for him actually.
Yeah, and it has been kind of a repeat thing for him because, like in Mutant Ninja Turtles, the next mutation, he had that going on. In the '03 show, during like the kid versions of the Turtles, they had that going on. So it's been like a repetitive thing. It's just that they're finally making it stick. And like even in the '03 show, when they went to do that future post-apocalyptic episode, Michelangelo had that going on. So
yeah, so I think that's cool. Another thing though, this man. I'm sorry, not a man. He's a male. But anyway, this turtle is fucking huge.
That dude is yoked.
He is the Hulk. He's the Hulk. Yeah. Like that's what he is.
That's part of what I mean when I say like he looks like how you'd expect him to look. Like, no, that man totally just hits the gym. Raphael's whole thing is he thinks that strength is everything, and like you see it. You see it. Yeah, that man is wide. That man is big. That man has a bicep the size of like 2 men's heads. That's like.
Yeah, man. Which we'll go into a bigger issue I have with all 4 of these designs overall. But okay, let's talk about Donatello, our favorite Ninja Turtle. Our favorite.
They overdid him with like the whole. I mean, I get it. You know, you're salvaging everything. You got extension cords on your body, the glasses, the goggles, and everything. But it's like, it's a little too much. Like when you look at like the Rise of the Ninja Turtles, I think that's the perfect balance. I think that is the perfect. If you want to represent that he's techie, I think that is the perfect ground for you to strike. Whereas you got like a couple little doodads here and there. Cool. He has tech in his weapon. Cool. That makes sense. He would totally do that. But you don't need to have like extension cord. Like you don't need to have a fire hazard on his chest. You don't need to
like get it. I'm the smart one. See, I got the glasses. I got the goggles. I got the thing on the back. I got this. I got this. I got the gauntlets. I got the watch. I got the holographic things. I can scan anything when I want.
I first saw the design and I thought he was like a cyborg or something. But like, I will say if. I only really like that he has all that tech on him for one scene and one line only, and that's when he sees that the Foot Ninja dude has a gun. He's like, "Oh my god, they have guns!"
Yeah, that was funny. That was funny. But yeah, as far as the personality, like this is the most Donatello I've felt from any version of Donatello. Like,
oh yeah, true to form.
Yeah, like so. I'm glad they at least got that right. I mean, yeah, the aesthetic is very over excessive, but like, you know, he felt very unique, you know, with the other turtles as far as like his smarts and stuff like that.
Yeah, he's very nerdy, but he's also got an attitude. He snaps back a little bit. Like there's the whole thing where they're sliding down the hill. And he's talking about like how they're going and everything. And Raph's like, "Oh, thanks for the weather, genius. You wanted to talk about sports?" He's like, "Well, since you're going to be mean about it, I guess you don't want to know that we're going to be going over a cliff in 53 seconds."
Mm-hmm. Or it's like when he's about to flip over the car with his staff, he's like, "Allow me to be the badass for once." I'm like, "Yeah, Donnie, you be the badass, man."
Right. And he says like a totally Donatello line. He's like, "I've always wanted to try this." It's like, yeah, okay, that's.
Yeah, that's cool. Even though physically, I don't know how you can flip an entire truck with a bow staff, but you know that's okay.
He's got like a caliper for a bow staff, I guess. But you know,
sure, why not? So, which brings me to my overall issue with these designs. These turtles are too damn big. God. My God, these aren't ninjas. These are tanks.
Oh yeah. No, they're big. I'm surprised. I even though they had numbers, I'm surprised that the Foot Ninjas or Foot Army Men, as I'm gonna call them, the Foot Army Men in like that one corridor where they like think that they're going to the elevator. I'm surprised that even with their numbers, they have the confidence to go charge 4 Incredible Hulks standing in that doorway. I'm running the other way.
Yeah, like they got the balls to actually attack these monster turtles.
Yeah, I don't care if we got 5,000 people. I saw them locked up in cages with plexiglass 2 floors up, and now they're just walking around freely.
Yeah, I'm running the other way. I don't. No, I'm not shooting them. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
attack them with stunners. That's not gonna
Yeah,
work.
like, look, they're built different. I was built with the same Lego instruction manual as everybody else. That's I'm not him. I'm not that guy. I'm running the
Yeah.
other way.
I mean, just look at the scale when they're just standing next to April. Look how huge they are. Jesus Christ! Like, these are supposed to be ninjas. How are they being ninjas? They're not. How can you be discreet when you're that huge?
Yeah, I
Like,
mean, you hear them stomping around sometimes too, and it's like it's a lot of weight you're throwing around.
right? How are you actually doing ninjutsu? You don't even have to do ninjutsu. You just gotta throw them across the room,
Well,
punch
yeah,
them,
also,
and they'll go flying.
well, also,
Like,
how does anybody survive a punch from them? Like, I'm sorry, that should be vertebrae snapping the second he punches that one dude in the face. That's no, he's dead.
no, yeah, he's done. Like, one punch, he's done. But yeah, that was just. You could tell once again. You could tell that these were the designs they were originally gonna do when they were aliens, and they're like, we have to crowbar them back to being as the original source material as possible. But it's like, okay, well, we can't just completely redesign them from scratch because that'll take too much time.
They
too
even
much
like
money.
they even like make fun of that at one point in the movie where they're like, oh, so they're aliens. No, that's stupid.
No, that's stupid. They're turtles.
It's like, I get it. All right, cool, whatever,
Get it?
fine.
Yeah. See how
You did, yeah, you did the same thing you did in Age of Extinction, where you had the line where they're like, all movies are anymore sequels and reboots. Ha ha, funny, but you don't get to make fun of the thing that you almost did or that you are doing.
Yeah. So it's just. Yeah, I'm not a fan of these designs. Like, they're not pleasant to look at. And okay, another argument I'm hearing from people is that, like, they should have just went back to the practical puppet designs. Like, the CGI is terrible. Okay, look, I miss the practical Jim Henson puppets just as much as everyone else. They looked so good in the first movie. However, there is nothing wrong with them doing motion capture for the turtles as well.
Absolutely.
Because as much as I love the puppets, like, if you want them to do those high octane action scenes, if you want to amp up the action set pieces, there's only so much you could do with people in like suits, you know? Like, we have modern technology, use it. That's fine. You know, I'm always for, like, using CGI when it's absolutely necessary. But, you know, in this type of situation, when, like, they're doing, like, these really big set pieces and stuff like that, like they're going borderline sci-fi with it, I think it's more cost effective if they did do the motion capture stuff. Because while I don't like the designs of the turtles, the motion captures for the turtles was not the issue at all. Like, I actually believed that they were on screen with Megan Fox. I actually believed they were in the real world. Like, the motion capture for the turtles actually looked really, really good. So, look, I don't think the solution is to just put them in practical suits, because if you put them in practical suits and you have the exact same writing that they do for this movie, like, it's not going to automatically make the film better. It's not. You know?
If anything, I think it might have made it worse.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't have any problem with them doing motion capture. The motion capture looked really good. The designs I don't like, but I thought the CGI for them was great.
Yeah. Also, Michael Bay doesn't know the meaning of the word practical, so.
Yeah, what is that? Well, actually, he knows how to do practical explosions and practical, like, stunts. He knows how to do that. But as far as, like, Transformers, not so much. Okay, so Splinter, I hate this design.
I mean, that's a rat.
I hate it. I hate it. He looks scary. Like,
I mean, rats look scary a lot of the time, but
I mean, yeah, I get the approach with, him actually looking like a rat. That's fine. But just, like, it just goes back also with the turtles. Like, they're trying too hard to make him look real, grounded, And it's like you have to keep in mind that these are turtles and rats, and they're not pretty looking animals. So it's just like, I get what they're trying to do, but it's just hard looking at this. Look at this. This is gonna give kids nightmares.
I feel like it grew on me as the movie kept going, but yeah, I agree.
I mean, as an adult now, it doesn't freak me out as much, but it's just like, I don't know, just the Fu Manchu mustache and like the ponytail. I'm just like, that's just too much. If you guys, I don't know if you guys have seen this, like the leaked concept art for Splinter. I'm going to show it right now. They should have went with that design.
That would have been better, but you wouldn't have had the thing in the duel with Shredder where he does the full like.
I'm sorry, but I gotta say this. I never thought I would say this for Splinter, but like, cultural appropriation they did with Splinter, because let me tell you right now, let's just get into this right now. The backstory they gave for the turtles, I don't like.
My boy found a book and somehow found 2 katanas, 2 sai, 2 nunchucks, and a bow staff.
And he decided to do his hair like an Asian, Fu Manchu mustache and a ponytail.
Where'd the man find the clippers to do that, huh?
This man became a barber overnight.
That lineup is too clean.
It's way too crisp. Way too crisp. What the hell? What the actual hell is that? Okay. So they decide to give the backstory where when April was a kid, his father was a scientist working with what's Fichtner's character again?
Something Saxton.
Sax. Yeah, he used to be a scientist that worked with Sax, working on the mutagen at TCRI. They actually called it TCRI this time, thank God. But so they were working on the mutagen together, and they conveniently had Splinter and the Turtles be experiments for them to test the mutagen on, and April was keeping them as their pets when she was a little girl. And
yeah.
there was a fire that happened where that Sax and April thought that all the mutagen and the Turtles and Splinter like died in the fire, but obviously they survived, and they somehow found their way downtown to New York City. I don't know how that happened.
April dropped them in the sewer.
Oh yeah, that's right. April dropped them in the sewer. That's right. And then yeah, as you said, they got the mutagen on them, and then they grow as they usually do. And then they grow up looking at pop culture, and then they see the Mutant's been around that jack. That was actually a funny scene.
I like that.
I like that. Yeah. Seeing them as the kid turtles, like that was a nice scene there.
But yeah, seeing how they pass the time and everything, Buck, yeah,
Buck and all that, yeah. And yeah, but Splinter conveniently finds a book on how to learn martial arts.
And it's not a scam for once. Typically, in New York City, if you find a book that says the art of ninjutsu, you're going to learn how to karate chop at the speed of molasses. And then you are going to do that against your school bully, and you're going to get tossed in the trash can. All right? But somehow, this rat lines himself up, grows a Fu Manchu, finds a katana, 2 of them, finds sai, finds nunchucks, finds a bow staff, just teaches himself the ancient art of ninjutsu, masters it, the philosophy and everything. Man found a book that could be found at any Barnes and Noble and taught himself how to be the next Bruce Lee. I don't...
Makes total sense.
Man even knew to start the fight with stroking your Fu Manchu and going, oh, like he, like.
They obviously watched some TV after that.
Yeah, but like, first off, why did Shredder give him the time to do that? Man should have man should have gone and then gotten his face caved in. That's realistically in New York, in the streets of New York, in the sewers of New York, where there are truly no rules. That is what would go down.
Shredder's about showmanship.
He would have been, and Shredder would have been like a rat, and then punched his face in.
Falcon like, punch with my knives on my fist.
Yeah, realistically, a human being would have seen a giant rat stroking his Fu Manchu and would have been like, "Is that a giant rat?" And then shot that thing.
Shoot it.
That's.
But yeah, he's all about showmanship. But
yes,
yeah, that was the dumbest thing I have ever seen.
I've said it before. I'll say it again. I prefer it when he is Hamato Yoshi.
There is no Hamato Yoshi.
I know, and there is no Hamato. They don't even call him a Rokusaki.
They don't call Shredder a Rokusaki. Nope.
They just say Master, Sensei,
Shredder.
Ancient Master. They call him like Old Master, and it's like, what? He doesn't look old.
I don't know. He doesn't look like he's no.
I mean, then again, we just got this Slender Man, style silhouette. Man. So I mean, his outline doesn't look old.
Man, he doesn't look later than 50s.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. I don't know. I don't know why they thought that they. Why are they so lazy with this, man? I think once again, this just goes back to them trying to reshoot as much as they can because there was no Yoshi in the original script. So they were like, they didn't have time to just hire an actor to be Yoshi and then them just doing completely reshooting, all that stuff.
It would have been dumber if they went with their original plan where it's like, we're aliens and we ended up in your sewers and we saw this book on ninjutsu and we learned how to, like...
That actually would have been worse. Yeah.
Yes.
Right. God damn it. Yeah, that was so bad. That was so bad. And then going back to like the aliens thing, things that I think still translated over to that original concept. Why are the turtles bulletproof? What?
I think that kind of makes sense with like the whole concept of like, oh, we were mutating them. It's like, okay, so that, maybe things like properties of like hardness of their shells would transfer or amplify or anything because they mainly use their shells to block bullets. So it's like, okay, I get it. They grew, they got a lot stronger. Okay, sure, they're bulletproof. We'll go with that.
But what I don't understand is how does that mean you're knife proof? If you're bulletproof, like
I mean, they're not tranquilizer proof.
I just don't.
Yeah.
Not only are they hulking tanks, but they can't even be consistent with what they're impervious to.
I would be able to believe that the shell is bulletproof. Okay, sure. I would maybe be able to believe that like the front main like chest area is bulletproof. Sure. Why is it that the arms and everything are bulletproof but not trank proof?
It beats me. Okay, so one final thing I want to talk about is like how the movie shot in the action scenes, because, and I think this goes overall just like the look of the movie. Like it's a slick looking movie. You know how Michael Bay does, like just like with the lens flares and the
lens flare,
of the colors and
swirling, sweeping
shots, close ups. Like the camera barely stays still.
I feel like Michael Bay's cameraman and whoever the camera people are for the MCU need to meet, because the MCU has too many static shots, right? Mm-hmm. But Michael Bay has too many like shots where just the camera is like hopped up on adrenaline and caffeine and can't stay still. So just meld those two, and I think you'll have the perfect movie. Matter of fact, just get Sam Raimi. Just get Sam Raimi.
Yeah, sure. Get Sam Raimi because he can balance that.
Yes.
But yeah, man, it's just like it's a and even the action set pieces are like over the top and stuff like that. Like there's some really elaborate like just crazy stuff happening with trucks and cars and a building and all this stuff. Like all this stuff is entertaining to watch. Don't get me wrong. Like it's nice to see a Ninja Turtles movie that's given this big of a budget and production value. But at the same time, it feels like this movie is way too overproduced. Way too overproduced. Like, as you said, it's just like, it feels like there's not, it feels like the movie is going like at 100 miles an hour. Like, there's barely any time to breathe and have character moments. And the character moments are some of the best parts of the movie. But like this movie just feels like its main priority is to get from one action set piece to the next.
Yeah, I mean, it feels kind of standard in the first like 10-15 minutes of the film. The second the turtles go on screen, though, you get like all this like sweeping shots. At one point, you get a GoPro shot. Like it's yeah. It's
yeah,
nuts.
and it's just it is nuts. And like like our favorite fight scene in the movie is the Splinter and Shredder fight. Not only because like we're actually not only because like the stakes of that fight was actually really good, as we were talking about with the brothers trying to get to him, but like that was one of the few action set pieces where it's like we can actually follow everything that's going on in that fight.
It was beautifully shot, and I mean like you can kind of follow everything that's going on in like other action scenes and everything, but it's like it's so jarring how they do the camera work, because like in the avalanche scene, that GoPro shot where you're at the end of Donnie's staff comes out of nowhere.
And then you have like shots where it's like they're sliding under the truck, and it's like they're doing like kind of like POV shots of the turtles while the car is like swinging. The truck is swinging back and forth.
It feels like that scene was like out of like a Spy Kids 3D movie. Like that was like you were meant to be wearing 3D glasses during that part, especially when Leo like leans towards the camera and is like, "We're going off a cliff." It's like, okay, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just like it's just really weird how they structured. As you said, it felt like a set piece that you would see in a Spy Kids movie, and then you would have like shots where it's like where the turtles are fighting the foot, and it's like they're way too close up behind them, so it's like you don't get like a wide shot of them hitting them.
There were too many jump cuts in in those scenes when they're like fighting the foot, especially in the sewer. There were too many jump cuts. It's like, okay, someone does one move, you immediately cut to the next turtle doing something else. It's like, whoa, wait, where are we? Where are we?
Like, what's going on? Can you back up a little bit? Like,
because
who is he touching? Like, what's going on?
I don't think in the entirety of the film they ever give you an establishing shot of the sewer, so you can't tell where everything is. So it's not like because typically in good filmmaking, good camera work, they give you an establishing shot, so you know the layout of the land, you know where everything is, you know where characters are in relation. So you see something in the background, you're like, okay, they're there. They don't do that, and a lot of the, I guess you could call them establishing shots, maybe, of the sewer are like done in shadowy areas. So when it's lit up like it is in the present and in that fight scene, you can't tell what's going on. You can't tell where they are. And I get it's supposed to be chaotic. It's supposed to be disorienting. They're getting ambushed. But you still, as the viewer, want to know where they are, who you're following, what's going on, how far is this turtle from the other turtle, so that you know why they're not coming to help him. Because at one point in the scene, at one point in the fight, Donnie and Raph are next to each other, and the next point they're completely across each other in the sewer. And it's like, well, where are they?
Mm-hmm. Or even like something as simple as like the turtles are like holding on to April and Vern while they're sliding into the sewers to get to the building, and it's going like so fast, and once again it's like close. It's like it's too close where like you don't get like an establishing shot of seeing them slide all together, and then when they get to the destination, like you see all four turtles sliding out of the hole, and you don't see April or Vern with them, and then when they get up. And then they turn, and like April and Vern are behind them. Like, wait, I thought you were holding them in your arms.
And like I mean they do a good. I'll give them this compliment. They do a good job at making you feel like you're there in that moment, because it feels disorienting. But we're not we're not there. We're a viewer looking in. We're someone that is watching this spectacle, this adventure take place. So during those moments, maybe a static shot might not be so bad. Now during something like, say, like a big reveal or a big evil monologue, sure, yeah, a lot of like sweeping stuff and everything, cool. It makes it feel a lot more dynamic and everything. So it's just about finding that like mixture, that perfect mix. But
that nice balance. Yeah, exactly. Like it's okay to have like certain shots that's disorienting to make you feel like more immersed into the scene, but like when every scene is like trying to do different camera tricks and be chaotic and like doing all this stuff, like it just feels very jarring.
Yeah, and I will say it's not nearly as prominent as it was in, like, say, 2007 with Transformers, where it was just constant camera shake and sweeping, and you had the iconic Michael Bay sweeping around the character as they're talking about something or looking around their area thing. But,
right. Even though they still do those spin around things, like when they're fighting Shredder on top of the skyscraper, it was just nothing but spinning around them while Shredder is like attacking them.
Yeah, there were like maybe 2 static shots in that whole fight scene that were like bird's eye view, but that like
yeah, like we're just spinning around, and like they're fighting, and it's like, and then slow motion.
Which the slow motion also felt like very overused in this film too.
Yeah, it's like, if people want to complain about Zack Snyder using too much slow motion, they've been using slow motion in this movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it's just like, it just felt like Jonathan Liebsman wanted to try every camera trick that Michael Bay showed him. It's like, I'm gonna do every single thing that Michael Bay does. I'm gonna put it in this movie.
And I get it. You learned this cool trick from Michael Bay and you want to use it. I get that. You have this cool thing in your arsenal. However, it is about timing.
Timing. Very
like you don't. Good Lord, I'm just glad that you didn't do like the first shot of the film is just a sweeping around, like just.
Like, oh my God. But yeah, go ahead.
No, that's pretty much just my point.
Okay. Yeah. But no. Of course, you got that like that epic close-up shot where it's like they're like you see like a looking up shot at you see a shot of a character from the ground, and then they pan closer to them like it's some sort of epic shot, like, and she's just interviewing somebody. I'm like, why do you need to make every shot look like it's some sort of epic thing?
Yeah, you make it seem like we should be paying attention to this interview because it'll come up later. It doesn't.
It does not. Nope. Now I do like me some lens flares though. I don't have a big problem with lens flares. I always like lens flares in any movie, to be honest.
I don't mind lens flares. I hate when they're overused, and it feels like in just about every Michael Bay production, whether he's producing it or not, with the exception of maybe Bumblebee and Rise of the Beast, it always feels like they're overused.
Very true. There was like a couple of moments where it's like, okay, we didn't really need a lens flare here, but like,
like Shredder's just standing there in the lair, and it's like lens flare. I'm like, I'm getting flashbang. I don't.
Yeah. Critically, I can acknowledge that, like, yeah, there's too much, but at the same time, like, I kind of like that in movies. Like, I don't care how much, like, even with the,
it looks cool.
Yeah. Like, even like with the J.J. Abrams Star Trek movies, I know a lot of people complaining that, oh, there's too much lens flare. Critically, yes, you are correct. However, I like seeing all the lens flare. I like that aesthetic a lot. I don't know why.
I'll agree because in those films, yes, there's too much lens flare, but it looks cool.
It does. Like, whenever I start like doing my own like independent films, I want to try and put a bunch of lens flare in my movies. Yeah. But yeah, so yeah. Oh yeah, I guess I mentioned the dumbass plot with they're trying to release this toxin on the city.
I told you every Michael Bay film seems to just boil down to that, man.
Yeah, they're gonna release this toxin in the city and gonna cause everyone to get like this life-threatening disease. However, William Fichtner is gonna get the antidote from the turtle's blood, and that's going to create the only antidote in the world, and he's going to hold the city for ransom. And if the city doesn't give him all the money that he wants, Like he's gonna let all the people die, and then in turn, that's gonna help the Shredder take over the city. Uh, it, okay.
You can summarize it as they have a doomsday device. They want to use the doomsday device. It's going to doom insert place here. The heroes have something to stop that doomsday device.
Yeah, when the Amazing Spider-Man 1 plot seems a little more coherent than this, something's up with that. Like he wanted to turn the city into lizards.
Yeah,
but that's more straightforward than this movie.
Yeah, the best version of this kind of plot is in a video game of all things.
Which one?
Spider-Man, the PS4 one.
Oh, yeah.
Demon's breath, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna infect the city because I'm insane." Okay.
He's like, okay, great.
I'm gonna do this to put a smudge on Norman Osborn's political campaign. Okay, cool, whatever.
All right, fine. This one, Sax just wanted to be stupid rich.
He wanted to, in his words, take a bite out of the Big Apple.
Yep. And Shredder's just gonna take over after that, I guess.
Yeah, Shredder has no agency. Which once again is definitely, he was supposed to be Sax. He was definitely supposed to be Sax, because it's like, he doesn't say like, oh, I want the city because of blankety blank. It's just,
I just want to kill you.
Yeah, he's like, you will have your money, I will have the city. But why though?
Yeah, why do you want it?
It's like the '90s movie where it was like, we're stealing TVs. Okay, but why?
Yeah, but why? Yeah. Also, another thing, he fell off of a skyscraper, right?
Yes.
Like, he should be dead or brutally injured, right?
Well, '90s Shredder should have been dead in the trash compactor, so.
We're doing this again, huh? He's just surviving anything.
Uh-huh.
Great. And I know what y'all are about to say, but he's in that high-tech armored suit. That would probably help him with the fall, right?
No, because there's no cushioning in that. That's still metal underneath there. He should fall and then immediately get chopped up by the metal in his suit.
Yep. Oh, we can't do that. It's too dark for the kids.
You were draining the blood out of the mutants earlier in this movie. Don't you talk to me about too dark. You were literally going to have them die of blood loss. This is a PG-13. This is a hard PG. Well, I wouldn't say hard PG-13, but it's a pretty solid PG-13. Yeah.
Like,
at one point
kids need to be this tall to ride this ride.
At one point in the film, Leonardo throws his katana into the man's chest. Okay, you don't need to pull your punches. It's fine.
No, you don't. Which I appreciate that they're trying to be a little bit more adult with this movie. So that's cool.
It's the closest you'll get to your R-rated one.
Unfortunately. Another thing, they fell with the canister, right? The canister fell to the ground, right?
Yes, which should have broken because it was made of glass.
Yeah, and okay, so did the Shredder? Because I know the Shredder touched it, right? So that should mutate him again, right?
Also, wasn't the whole point of that supposed to be, hey, keep this? It's gonna save Splinter.
Yeah, how'd you save Splinter? Where'd you get another canister from?
That's what I'm saying, because like Donatello was like, hey, take the mutagen to our father. It's gonna save his life. And Shredder falls off the building with it. That should have been, well, we're having a funeral for Splinter at the end of this movie then.
Okay. All right. Man, there's just plot holes everywhere.
Uh-huh.
All right. Well, I think we covered just about everything. So.
Yeah, I've already solidified my rating, so yeah.
Oh, I think I might have an idea what it is, but overall, I still think this movie is okay. It's okay. I don't hate it. I definitely don't think it's great. I argue to say that if this is even a good movie, but I definitely don't think this is the worst version of Ninja Turtles. I still don't. I still think that Ninja Turtles 3 is worse. I still think that Next Mutation is worse. Um, there's still there's some really good things about this movie. The turtles themselves, the personality, the interactions, the banter they have with each other, and Splinter, that's still really good in this movie. Um, the action scenes, when they're not being too chaotic, it's entertaining to watch. Um, the fight scenes with Shredder, when they're not too chaotic, it's still entertaining to watch. I didn't mind Megan Fox's April O'Neil. I thought she was fine. I thought Will Arnett as Vern was fine. Um, William Fichtner as Sax is Sax. He's okay. Did his thing, I guess. Whatever. Um, I don't know. I mean, there's some entertaining moments, but yeah, there's just a lot of creative choices that I didn't really like that much. As far as their origin, I didn't like that they just learned ninjutsu from a book. I didn't care for them connecting their backstory to April as a kid. That was unnecessary. Um, there's no mention of Yoshi. I don't even think he even exists in this universe, which is very unfortunate. Even the stuff with April's dad being a scientist, they don't really go into it that much. The designs of the turtles, I don't like. They're too big. They're too massive. Like, they're invincible for no reason. Their actual looks, they look hideous. It's too hideous. They're not appealing to look at. Like, I know they're trying to be more grounded and realistic with the designs, but it's not appealing to look at. Like, I'm surprised they were able to make toys after these designs, really. And Splinter looks hideous as well. I just like I get what they were trying to do, but it just didn't work for me. Like, I see if kids don't, will get scared from these designs. Like, they don't look very good, and they're overdoing it with the stuff that's on them. Like, it's over designed. I just wasn't a fan of it. I did think the motion capture and the CGI for the turtles were really good, though. So at least there's a bright side with that. I thought CGI for them looked really good. But yeah, man, it's just, and there's plot holes still. There's like lazy writing and plot holes everywhere, and you felt the reshoots with them trying to crowbar in, making it feel more true to the source material from them making them into aliens. You still felt like there was stuff that carried over from the concept of them being aliens, and it just felt so clunky and weirdly put together, and stuff felt open-ended and didn't make a lot of sense. But, if I turn my brain off, I don't mind watching this every once in a while for like the interaction with the turtles and like the cool set pieces, I guess, like the overproduced spectacle of it. It'd be fun in moments if I just turn my brain off, But yeah, I don't think this is an abomination. I don't think this is like a destroys the franchise. I definitely don't think so. Like, I felt somewhat of a soul with this movie. So, overall, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2014, I'm just going to give it a C. It's a solid C. It's in the middle. I'm not going any higher, but I don't think it deserves to be any lower. It's right in the middle. A C. Average at best. All right, Bigby.
So bear in mind this is still in my top 4 because the other options just no. But at the same time, something I think when it comes to Michael Bay films, I think I've become very critical of things like the plot. That's what I mainly glue myself to, because I understand that the character designs are going to be entertaining to look at, that overall it's going to be a spectacle, so that I'm not worried about. I'm more worried about how these characters are going to interact and what kind of world they're going to be in, and how true to the source material he stays if he's adapting from a certain IP, such as Transformers or Ninja Turtles or anything of the sort. And the same goes for, I think, any live-action interpretation of any sort of IP that I really like. But, you saw me start to fall out of love with this movie after having a little bit of a revelation there. with the plot. And no, so positives, you know, I like the character designs overall. I like how a lot of the things look. You know, the score is great. I like how certain scenes are shot. And I think the casting for the Turtles as well as Splinter was pretty good. More so for the Turtles. And I love that they got the chemistry right for the Turtles as well. Backstory was a little dodgy, of course. And you know, the way that a majority of the film was shot after like the first 15 minutes was definitely very spotty. But my main focal point when it comes to a lot of Michael Bay films is the plot. And you can see that there was a soul put in here with this plot and how the characters interact and everything and the writing of it. But you can see where they shoehorned in things to either please fans or to please studios. And that is especially present with Shredder, who, you know, should have been the main villain. He should have been the main focus, regardless of whether or not I had this revelation. That was always going to be a constant criticism for me, is that Shredder should have had a bigger role. He should have been a bigger focus. And they should have absolutely reshot things, but it clearly feels like they didn't, based on how Shredder conducts himself in certain situations. And that weighs heavily on me. I don't like seeing... I don't like it when Michael Bay does that. Or when, you know, or... the director of this film, Jonathan Leesman. I don't like when directors do that with these IPs. I don't like how Michael Bay did that with Transformers, where Megatron quickly became a backseat villain after the first film. I don't like how they did that with the first film in this duology, where Shredder is immediately a backseat villain. He feels like a Tatsu in this movie, which is just insulting for the character. He makes dumb decisions that he would never make. He does things where it's clearly that's supposed to be Saxton there, where clearly that whole B plot with, you know, him in the lab with O'Neill and everything was not supposed to happen. So because of that, like that, and because of how heavily that weighs on me for this film, I was originally going to give it a B, but I'm gonna go with a C minus. It's a nice watch. I watched it a lot as a kid. I'll probably still go back and rewatch it from time to time because it is still my top 4. But especially after having that little revelation there, it's kind of ruined a lot of the fun of that movie for me, because I focus a lot, like I said, focus a lot on the plot when it comes to these live action adaptations of things. And man, man, is this one messy when you really dissect it.
Yeah. Well, that is our thoughts on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2014. Tell us, what did you guys think about it? Did you guys love it? Did you guys hate it? Did you guys think it was okay? How does it compare to the other versions of Ninja Turtles? Comment your thoughts down below and let us know. So, we have one final stop until Mutant Mayhem. We will conclude our thoughts on the Michael Bay produced Ninja Turtles movies next time when we talk about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows.
Not to be confused with the video game.
Yeah.
Of the same name.
Yeah, exactly. Which I actually did play that game, and it's actually pretty cool. Pretty good.
Solid game.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, tune in for that when it comes out. If you guys enjoyed this stream, please don't forget to leave a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. We're on the road to 500 subscribers, so please, if you have not subscribed already and you like what I do, please subscribe and hit the bell if you want to be notified on future videos I'll be doing. Go ahead and plug your stuff, Big Bait.
As always, you can find me at Red, White, and Blue Streak. I do figure reviews, primarily Transformer reviews. It tends to be more comedy centered. A lot of things are scripted, so we have a lot of fun with it. I'm on the road to 100 now because we just passed 60, so please stop on by. The more the merrier.
Yes, absolutely. But that's all we have for you, Ninja Turtles fans, and we will see you guys next time. Talk to you guys later. Knock, knock, you about to get shell shocked. Knock, knock, you about to get shell shocked.